Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of the free mini training, Loving the Thin Skin You're In. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Thursday so far. I am broadcasting on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time, so I'll be kind of moving my head back and forth a little bit, just so you guys know. As you're coming in, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm really excited to have you guys on here with me live. So if you've been catching any of my previous trainings the last 3 days, we've been talking a lot about being highly sensitive, about being an empath, and about how to really thrive, not just survive in the world when you have that unique trait. And so today is going to continue on the themes that we've been talking about all week. And today we're really going to talk specifically about building a fierce connection to your inner compass. And I'm going to go into what that means and how you start to do that and how you can maintain that connection to your inner compass. Hi, Gwen. Thanks for hopping on live. And so real quick before we go into the free content of the training, once again, I just want to let you guys know that the doors are open to my Sensitive Badass Coaching Mentorship. The doors are closing tomorrow at midnight, so there's 2 more days to sign up. So if you guys have been hearing me talk about this awesome program, if you are interested in getting more individual support as a sensitive or empath woman around really thriving in the world and basically around how to maximize the challenges and, minimize the challenges and maximize the benefits of being a highly sensitive person, because there's a lot of both, right? But many of us get really caught up in the challenges and we then don't get to enjoy the many, many, many benefits of being highly sensitive and being an empath. And there's so much to learn about that, about how to really, Moxie Moon, yay, hi. There's so much to learn about how to really make friends with your sensitivity and how to really learn how to work with it and not against it, so that it can work for you and not against you. And that's really what this program is about. It's about, coming home to the truth of who you are, reintroducing yourself to yourself, really building a fierce confidence and, inner strength. I call myself the sensitive badass for a reason, because I believe that soft and strong are not mutually exclusive. I think that we as sensitives are actually profoundly strong. It's just that a lot of us have lost our connection to our strength, or have been told, hi Paula, thanks for tuning back in, or have been told that, we're not strong, and we believed those messages that we got. And so this is really a program about coming back to the truth of who you are and being able to heal a lot of the things that may have come up for you in the past, heal a lot of the limiting beliefs that you have that are blocking you from your worthiness, that are blocking you from seeing how magical and amazing it is to be a sensitive person. Oh, hi. Yes, I am in the States. So I'm in the Western United States. It's the middle of the night in Sweden. Well, I work all day. I have coaching appointments available all day. If you want to send me a personal message, we can chat about that. But yeah, so that's what the program is about. It's incredible. It's amazing. I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited for it. And the doors close tomorrow night at midnight Pacific time, United States time. So go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested. For those of you who are on Instagram, the link to the sign up page is in my profile. So you can just go to my profile and click the link, and that will take you to be able to check out all the details of the program. And for those of you on Facebook, of course, the link is in the title of this video. So, okay, let's dive into today's content. So I really, really deeply love what we're talking about today. It's really important, and it's something that I don't see a lot of people talking about. And it's very specific, I think. I mean, I'm sure this would be helpful for anyone, but it's very specific to being sensitive and being an empath, because what I want to talk to you guys about today is really coming home to the truth of who you are and being able to trust your gut and being able to trust your feelings and being able to trust your intuition and have an unshakable confidence in those things. And the reason why this is specifically important for those of us who are highly sensitive and empaths is because a lot of us grow up getting messages that we can't trust our experiences of the world, that our emotions are somehow are an overreaction, or that we're not experiencing things correctly, or that, we're making things up, or that we're crazy, right? A lot of us have been called crazy. And the reason for this is it's not necessarily that the people who are saying these things to us are bad people. Sometimes they are, but it's not necessarily that they are. It doesn't excuse their criticisms. But people don't understand what it feels like to go through life as a highly sensitive person if they're not one, right? They can't comprehend what it feels like to experience the world the way that we experience it. They don't get usually, or haven't been educated rather, on what it actually means to be highly sensitive and an empath. And so unfortunately, because of that, and because at least here in the United States, we live in a society that really is not set up to appreciate or to really support people who are highly sensitive. And so it can feel to us in the world as sensitive women and men that, you know, we are somehow different, that we're somehow flawed, that we don't fit in, that we don't belong. I know for me, I used to feel like an alien. I thought I was like, I had been planted here by some other race. So, you know, there's a lot of that sense of feeling that we don't belong. And then for me specifically, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, I really, really took in a lot of the messages that I was getting from the world around me. When people told me I was too sensitive, I believed them. When people told me that I was overreacting, I believed them. I am. When people told me that I was being too dramatic, I believed them. I believed all of these things, and I took this deeply to heart. And over time, after hearing these things over and over and over again, I started to tell them to myself. I started to invalidate my own feelings. I started to invalidate my own truth. I stopped trusting myself. I stopped trusting my experience of the world. And I started looking outside of myself for validation, for confirmation, for love, for belonging, for direction. I looked outside of myself for everything. And that came naturally to me because as sensitives, and I talked about this a lot yesterday, we do tend to look outward, right? We're very outward focused because we take in a lot of information from the world around us. And so that comes natural to us. And then when we have this experience of people telling us that we can't trust ourselves, you know, we go, oh, okay, well then I must, you know, I can't trust what I'm feeling. I can't trust what I'm sensing. I can't trust what I'm hearing from my own inner voice. So I've got to look outside of myself for my safety, for answers, for direction of who to be and how to show up in the world. And the thing is that when we grow up doing that, and we've been doing it for so long, oftentimes we don't even realize that we're doing it anymore. Or, you know, we know that we're doing it, but we don't know another way. We just don't know another way to be. We've been so used to looking outside of ourselves for everything that we continue going on like that. And what typically happens is that when we are searching outside of ourselves for our worth and our validation and love and belonging, is we don't find it. It's not that we don't have people who love us. It's not that we don't have places where we fit in. But we'll never actually find that feeling of safety and wholeness and true confidence unless we learn how to build that from the inside out and stop seeking outside of ourselves for all of those things. And so that's really the big point here today is, and this is exactly what I mean when I talk about coming home to yourself. You guys have probably heard me say that a lot lately in these trainings and in my posts. And what coming home to yourself means to me is no longer looking, hi Renee, is no longer looking outside of yourself for those things, is coming back to the truth of who you are, is no longer distrusting your own feelings or invalidating your own feelings, is really doing the work to reconnect to who you really are, the truth of who you really are, and building safety from the inside out, building love for yourself, building confidence in yourself, building a deep connection to your inner voice, the only voice that really matters. That is the voice, and that's what I call your inner compass. So you can call it whatever you want, your inner voice, your inner compass, your inner guide, your inner child, whatever resonates with you. But the point is that we make a commitment to come back to that voice, to come back to that part of ourselves and stop looking outside of ourselves for confirmation of our worth or for permission, right? For permission to be who we are, for permission to say things, for permission to do things. You know, how often do you guys catch yourselves apologizing? If you're like me, I used to apologize constantly for everything. I was always apologizing, and especially for my sensitivity. If somebody said I was too emotional, I said, oh God, I'm so sorry. You know, oh no, I upset you with my emotions. I don't do that anymore. Right? Because I no longer doubt the validity of my emotions. I no longer doubt the validity of my worth. And I'm confident and I believe in myself and I trust my experience of the world. And that is what I want for each and every one of you. And it takes time to really build that connection to our inner compass. It takes time and it takes work, especially if, like me, you grew up living from a place of looking outside of yourself for all the answers, right? It's just like, I always talk about, your relationship with yourself the same way that you would look at your relationship with anybody else, right? Your relationships with your friends and your partners and your parents or your siblings, those are things that you put time into. You nurture those relationships. You spend time with those people. You pay attention to them. You get to know them. You hang out with them. You have fun with them. But why is it that we don't think of our relationship with ourselves the same way? Because the truth is that you are your own best friend, or you have the capacity to be your own best friend. And we really need to start treating our relationship with ourselves the way that we treat any other relationship, and showing ourselves the love and the validation and the compassion and the nurturing that we as sensitives so naturally show to other people. And so that's really what I'm talking about here, is becoming friends with yourself, learning who you really are outside of what people are telling you. If people are telling you that you're too emotional, it's because it's triggering them in some way. It doesn't mean you're too emotional. I don't think there's anything such thing as too emotional. We as sensitives feel at a deeper level, right? So of course we're emotional and that's good. Emotions are great and they're a beautiful thing. And it's beautiful because, you know, as much as we feel the pain of the world around us and the hardships that other people are going through, we're very tapped into that, right? And it can be really hard for us and it can be really painful. But what's cool about it is that we see that stuff. We see what's going on. And because we see it and because we feel it so deeply, we are driven to do something about it and make a difference in people's lives. That's why so many of us as sensitives and empaths go into professions where we are, you know, writers or actors or doctors or therapists or coaches like me, right? Because we have a deep desire to heal and help. But what happens for so many of us is that when we're in that place of really wanting to give back and we're so tuned into everybody else's stuff, we're not tuning back into who we really are. And in that process, we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves because we're taking care of everybody else except for us, right? And so to be a really powerful sensitive and to be a really, emotionally well sensitive, we have to learn that, first of all, you can give to others and still give to yourself. And you can be there for others and still be there for yourself. And not only that, but when we do take care of ourselves first, and we do take that time to come back to the truth of who we are and to come back home to ourselves, we're actually much more powerful and have so much more to give from that place when we're not depleted and exhausted and anxious and overwhelmed, right? And so this is a lesson that's really hard for us, a lot of us, to learn. And it was very difficult for me in the beginning. I felt guilty, severely guilty, anytime that I would take any time for myself, or I would spend any money on myself, or I would do anything for myself, really, because I felt like doing things for myself was somehow taking away from what I could be doing for other people. But part of what was underneath that was, yes, my deep desire to help people and heal people. But part of what was underneath that also was that I felt that if I wasn't giving my all 100% to everybody all the time, I wasn't going to be loved, because I still was carrying around this sense of being deeply flawed. And so I thought that I had to make up for that flaw. And what I told myself, or what I, learned, was that to make up for this dark flaw I had to give. And I was always chasing that worthiness, and I was always chasing validation of my lovability, that I could be loved. And I thought the only way that I could get that love was to make myself a doormat and to be a complete people pleaser. And it's not that I wasn't doing anything good. It's not that I wasn't actually helping people, because I was, but in the process, I was destroying myself, and nobody really wants that for you. And so it's funny, these things that we tell ourselves, and the way that we can kind of talk ourselves into these scenarios and not even realizing that we're doing it, right? So, okay, so how do you start to come back home to yourself, to the truth of who you are? So you'll notice I'm repeating myself a lot in these trainings because all of these themes are very connected. And the big, big point of all of them is A, being sensitive is awesome. It really is. And B, that you have to really commit to yourself, and that in committing to yourself, you actually really are doing the best thing that you can for everybody around you and for the world. And in committing to yourself, and when I say committing to yourself, I'm talking about self-care. I'm talking about spending time with yourself. I'm talking about doing the work to get to know yourself, standing up for yourself, setting strong boundaries, learning how to say no without guilt, all of these types. That's what I'm talking about, right? And building your confidence, building your trust in your own faith, your trust in your own feelings, your trust in your own experience of the world. This is what I'm talking about when I say coming home to yourself and doing the work to commit to yourself, right? So when you do that stuff, you then are so filled up with your own energy, and you're rested, and you're taken care of, and you're connected, and you're grounded, and you're centered, and you're connected to your intuition, and you can hear the voice of your inner guide, and you can hear the voice of your soul. And you, for those of you that have a higher power, you can tap into, you can hear the voice of your higher power better over the noise of the world, over the noise of your inner critic, and over the voices of everybody else that is telling you what to do or who to be or how you should act, right? And when you come to that place and you've built that really solid connection with yourself, and that, don't worry, Gwen, I got you. It is a lot of stuff. It's a lot, but it happens over time, and it happens in layers. And when you open yourself up to this work, it will start to flow. The most important thing is awareness and willingness. Those are the most important things. When you have the awareness that you want to do this work, that you need to do this work, and the willingness to show up and be open to it, everything else will fall into place. You will find a coach like me. You will find a book will fall off the shelf for you. You will find a training or something, or a therapist, or something will fall into place for you when you have the openness and the willingness and the awareness around it. So if anybody's feeling overwhelmed by all the things I'm talking about, don't worry. Like, this is so possible for everybody here. I'm not some magical unicorn. I mean, well, kind of, but but I mean, what I mean by that is that, like, I'm not different, you know, in the sense that, like, I did the work and got the results, and you guys can do the work and get the results too. This is possible for anybody. Possible and deeply, deeply necessary, because everybody deserves to fall in love with themselves. Everybody deserves to have this deep connection to themselves. Everybody deserves to feel inherently worthy. Everybody deserves to love their sensitivity and to no longer feel flawed, and no longer have to feel like you have to change who you are to fit into this world, or to belong, or to be loved, right? You don't. You are amazing the way that you are. This isn't about, none of this work is about fixing. This isn't about fixing. You know, it's about coming back home to who you really are. What would I suggest to make you feel like that? So what I was talking about before, because I think you just hopped on, is really spending a lot of time with yourself. Really reconnecting to yourself, spending time. It's so essential as a sensitive person to spend time in silence, to spend time alone, to spend time recharging your batteries and grounding and writing and meditating and journaling and all these types of things. But it's really, the point is like self-connection and being able to hear your own voice over the noise of the world. So yeah, it's all of this is completely possible for everybody, and you all deserve to be able to get to that place, if you're not already, where your higher self, exactly. That's, yes, and that's another way of putting it. You know, before I was saying inner guide, or, you know, your inner compass, or your higher self is another beautiful way to word that. So yeah, it's coming back home to this part of yourself that is literally like nudging you and going, hey, but we're so outward focused, and we're, you know, always trying to help and heal so many people. But we have to remember that we deserve that healing as well, and that we deserve this compassion that we so freely give to everybody else. And so, you know, one of my friend Thais actually said this. She's amazing. Thais Sky, if you guys don't know who she is, look her up. She's incredible. She does a lot of work on worthiness. And one of the things that she said one time was that confidence comes after action. And I love this, because a lot of times we feel like we have to build the confidence to do things before we go out and do them, or we have to like have a certain knowledge before we try something or whatever. And that's not necessarily true. Confidence comes after action. And so it's trusting, and it's seeking out the resources to support you, and then having faith in yourself. And the more that you do this, and the more that you start to validate your own feelings and trust your own feelings and connect back within, the more you're going to see that, oh, I really actually can trust myself, and wow, I'm a lot stronger than I thought that I was. And that's when the confidence is going to come. So confidence comes after action. And I love that so much, because I held myself back in so many ways when I was younger, because I was waiting for my confidence. I was waiting for my confidence to come, but I wasn't really doing anything to get it. I didn't know how to get it. And I realized in my journey that it came with, blind faith in myself, in my higher power, and just trusting the voice inside and moving forward. And over time, I was able to validate myself and no longer have to look outside of myself for that validation, because I was validated, because I trusted my intuition and it paid off. And I trusted my gut and it paid off. And I listened to my feelings and it paid off. And I trusted my experience of the world and I was right. And this isn't about being right. This isn't about right or wrong, but this is about you having a fierce connection to yourself and this unshakable confidence that you can trust yourself. You can trust what you feel. You can trust what you see. You don't always have to be looking outside of yourself for the answers. The work that I do as a coach is not about telling people what to do. The work I do as a coach is about helping you clear out all the bullshit that is blocking you from your own truth, because you know deep down inside what you need. You know deep down inside what you want. It's not my job to tell you that. I mean, I can give you intuitive nudges but really what I'm doing is to help to guide you back home to yourself, to help clear out all the limiting beliefs, all of the, stories that you've picked up over your life, all of the overwhelm and the anxiety and all these things that are blocking you from what's in here. Because what's in here is your power, is your truth, is your soul. That's what's important. And so my work as a coach is really just to help you get back to that place. Because it's hard. It's hard. That's why, I am a coach, but I have my own coach. It's hard to do that by yourself. Not to say that it can't be done, but it's a lot easier when you have somebody guiding you there. But this is the point, you guys, is that it's not, you have everything you need within you already. It's just about coming home to that and starting to trust it and to really, really let yourself go there, feel the fear and do it anyways, and start practicing with trusting it and watching the thoughts that are coming up in your head, watching when you're invalidating your feelings and when you're invalidating your experience of the world, and stopping yourself and asking, why am I doing this? What is it that tells me that I can't trust myself? What is it that tells me that my feelings aren't right? Just because somebody else doesn't understand the way that you feel doesn't mean that you don't feel it, right? Yeah, good point. Thank you. She said shadow work can be harmful, working on it by yourself too. Yeah, and it can bring you to a bad place mentally. Absolutely. And that's another wonderful reason why, looking for support outside of yourself, whether it's a coach like me or whether it's a women's group or a men's group or finding a book or having a therapist or whatever it is that resonates, an energy worker, whatever it is that resonates with you guys, it's really, really, so much safer and easier and a more enjoyable experience to do this work with somebody guiding you there. So, but I just encourage everybody, if you start anywhere, start with spending time with yourself. And even if it's like, and I know I said this yesterday and the day before, but I'm just going to keep saying it because it's really important, even if it's only like 5 minutes a day. Because what happens with us who are sensitive and empaths is that we need to build up. We need to build up this kind of like store of being grounded and being calm and being centered. And it's like you're like a squirrel storing nuts for the winter. It's like you just have to, the more that you do this stuff, the more that you spend time with yourself, the more that you work on getting connected and grounded, you will carry that out into your day with you. You will carry that out into the world with you. And when you do it on a regular basis, you may not notice a shift immediately, or you may. For some of us, it's just an immediate relief. But what I found with myself and with the women that I work with is that over time, as you make this commitment to yourself, because this is not, we're not talking about unshielding yourself. Yes, we're not talking about something that you do one time and then it's done. Again, this isn't about fixing anything. This is about changing the way that you're relating to yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's about setting yourself up with a lifestyle that supports your sensitivity and your empathness, rather than trying to force yourself to fit into a mold that was made for people who were not sensitive. So, and yes, reprogramming your mind from false beliefs. Hey, Jer. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of work there. And I talked about this a lot yesterday, actually, about looking at the stories that we told ourselves as children and looking at the belief systems that are running the show behind the scenes and really taking a step back from ourselves and shining a light on that and being like, wait a minute, do I even want to believe this anymore? Where did this come from? Why do I believe this? And why do I deserve to be telling myself these things? That's very important, profound work, because a lot of us are walking around with belief systems that we came up with at a very, very young age. And they got programmed in our brain, and the little neural pathways were formed. And so we don't even half the time notice when we're thinking certain things or notice the things that we're saying to ourselves, because our brain literally has these neural pathways in it, and our thought processes will just go right down that pathway that's been gone down time after time after time, right? And so it can be hard in the beginning doing this work to even notice that we're saying these things to ourselves or that we think these things about ourselves. Another reason why it's really helpful to have a coach walk you through that, right? But over time, you can build new neural pathways. You can change those limiting beliefs. You can break through them. You can write a new story. You can build a new connection to yourself. And yes, have extreme empathy for yourself. The empathy that you so freely give to everybody else. It is so possible to have that for yourself, to have self-compassion, to have self-love. And from that place, when you fill yourself up with your own compassion and your own love, you are a powerful healing force in the world. And I'm not saying that you aren't already, but you've been disconnected from yourself by being so outward focused, right? And so when we come back home to ourselves, hey, Richie, when we come back home to ourselves, that's when we really get to stand in our power. And that's when we really get to amplify our intuition and amplify our healing powers and really, really rock our sensitive superpowers, as I often say, because I do believe that sensitivity is a superpower. I absolutely 100% believe that it is. And, not that it makes us better than other people. It's not about that. It's just that we have a natural gift in the way that some people are gifted artists and some people are gifted sports players, right? Definitely not me. That's not my thing. And some people are gifted singers. We are gifted sensitives. We are gifted with empathy. We are gifted with intuition. We are gifted with a sixth sense, and it's really, when we start to think of it as a superpower and when we start to treat it that way, that's when we can really have it start working for us and not against us. But when we're stuck in feeling like it's a curse and we're stuck in running from it and trying to change who we are to fit into the world and apologizing for who we are and feeling bad about who we are and invalidating our own feelings and criticizing ourselves, that is the shadow side, the dark side of this superpower, right? But when we can start to take a step back and do this work to come home to the truth of who we are and realize how strong we've been all along, because every one of you has an inner badass inside of you. It's just that a lot of us have been disconnected from that part of ourselves or talked out of that part of ourselves. But that doesn't mean that it's not there. Like, it's hard to be sensitive. It's really hard, And for those of you that are, and you get up, and you go out into your day and you do everything that everybody else does and you're carrying this extra weight with you. You are a total badass. It's just that you have to reconnect to that part of yourself and bring that connection to your inner badassness so that when you walk out into the world, you no longer feel like you have to apologize for yourself. You don't feel like you have to be afraid to be out there. You don't feel like you have to be a victim of other people's feelings and emotions and negativity. And you don't have to feel like you're flawed or something's wrong with you. Because when you come home to the truth that you are a sensitive badass, which is my tagline and my favorite word ever, you are unstoppable, right? That's when you're really owning the truth of who you are and owning your sensitive superpowers and owning your inner badassness. And that's really what I teach and what I want for everybody out there, every sensitive woman and man. And yes, this program is particularly for women, but yesterday I had a lovely gentleman address me on Instagram and ask me about men. And I said, well, I do coach women specifically. I build programs and classes and online courses for women. But if there's any men out there that are listening to this and resonating with this and want access to this work, I would never in a million years turn you away. Please reach out to me. So anyways, I hope that this has been inspiring for you guys. I hope that it has been helpful. I love, love, love doing these trainings. I love being able to give out this content to the world and support you guys in this way. So if anybody ever has any questions for me, please feel free to tag me on Facebook, on Instagram, reach out to me personally. You can send me a personal message. I love hearing from you guys, and I'm always here and available to take your questions and support you. And tomorrow, the doors close for the Sensitive Badass Coaching Mentorship. So if you are loving all the things that you've been hearing, if you are resonating with what I'm saying, if you feel connected to me, if you feel called to this work, if this is something that you want, if you are ready for this powerful transformational work, I encourage you to take advantage of this amazing opportunity. The link to sign up and all the information is in so the program is $450 a month, that's US dollars, and there's a payment plan option as well. And all of that information is on the sign up page. And it's a ton of content. So it's, for those of you that might be wondering or haven't seen it, when you do sign up for the program, it starts March 1st. You get 3 one-on-one sessions with me, hour long, a month. And so that's just time for us to really hone in specifically on what's going on with you. You also get a group session at the end of the month, which is really amazing because the women in this program are incredible. And so we all come together to support each other in a group session. And then there is like a ton of bonuses. You get my full email support, which means you can email me anytime between sessions. I'm always available for you. You get my Sensitive Badass digital course. You get my Sensitive Academy classes. All this information is on the sign up page, but it's a ton of added value. It's a really, really fully comprehensive supportive program with the individual support, the group support, and then also the access to the classes and the digital content, so that you can walk out of this 6 months feeling amazing, transformed, healed, super connected to your inner badass, and just ready to go out there and rock it in the world. And that is my greatest desire for each and every one of you. So if you are interested, the link to sign up or to check out the details is in my Instagram profile. So you can just go there and click the link. On Facebook, again, it is in the title of this Facebook Live. So I also am doing free calls. The program technically closes tomorrow night at midnight. But if you guys go to book a call with me and you're not seeing anything available, just send me a personal message and we'll work something out. Again, for Instagram, the link to book those calls is in my profile as well. And for you guys on Facebook, I will post it in the comments. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in live. You guys are fantastic. Happy Thursday. And I will be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock for our final training. Thanks, Jer. I love you. All right, guys. Love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.